Final harvest, CCP targets 200 trillion in citizen savings. Alternative trend among Chinese young people, pretend to save money. Fleeing Xi Jinping's China, people resort to paddleboards for transportation. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Final harvest, CCP targets 200 trillion in citizen savings. 2023 may be the worst year for China's economy in the last 4 decades, marked by a severe downturn in both the stock market and real estate. This translates into a substantial decline in the personal assets of ordinary Chinese citizens. In comparison to the United States, China's GDP was 72% of the US in 2022, but by 2023, it had plummeted to 64%. As the Chinese banking crisis unfolds, experts believe that the 200 trillion yuan, approximately $28.2 trillion in savings held by Chinese residents is now the CCP final target. Mr. Meng Jun, a Chinese private entrepreneur residing in the United States, shared on the NTD television program Elite Forum that the future of China's economy appears to only get worse, not better. He observed the ongoing struggle by the CCP to defend the stock market around the 2,900-point mark. Despite attempts to bolster specific index stocks, these efforts have failed to halt the market's continuous decline. The persistent net outflow of northbound funds, totaling nearly 2 trillion yuan in the last 4 months, is a cause for serious concern. If the 2,900-point mark cannot be maintained, the entire stock market could collapse entirely. The subsequent challenge involves the entire banking industry and the financial system. Xi Jinping has acknowledged that the collapse of the financial system would lead to instability in the regime, given that the entire financial system operates as a subsystem of the party's regime, all held by state-owned banks. Recent developments indicate that the national team is supporting not only index stocks but also major state-owned enterprises and banks like Ping An, China Merchants Bank, and Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. Despite efforts by state-owned enterprises like Maotai, Wuliangye, and Gree to boost their stocks, these endeavors may prove futile, as the public is becoming more discerning. Foreign capital is also withdrawing steadily. Comparing the U.S. stock market, where the Dow Jones has reached a new high at 37,000 points, highlights a stark contrast with China. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index is already inverted, and the Hong Kong GM has plummeted to zero, an unimaginable scenario. Furthermore, the most significant issue is that this wealth depletion has primarily affected the rich, spanning from the housing market to the stock market to trusts. Essentially, the wealth of the affluent is being systematically drained, as they are the ones with sufficient funds to hold such assets. The stock market in China operates like a ruthless meat grinder. Meng Jun said that those of them with decades of experience in the market understand it well. It's a systematic process where the nation is being plundered through collusion between market manipulators, big players, and the government, extracting funds from listed companies. It's a model intentionally crafted to exploit retail investors mercilessly. In this exploitative process, they too have become victims, but their hands are tied as we are at the mercy of the state. He further indicated that given the current state of the Chinese economy, it's not difficult to envision what 2024 might look like. Many local enterprises, including friends within his business network, have belatedly realized the situation. Attempts to sell factories and land in Shanghai are proving futile, as nobody is willing to buy. People are astute, waiting for the right moment to hit rock bottom. Currently, there's a frenzied rush to sell houses, akin to an earthquake of magnitude 8.0. Although the government is attempting to conceal it, people are well aware, and citizens are not naive. With local governments burdened by substantial debt, their solution is issuing bonds, perpetuating the cycle of creating new debts to settle old ones, a common practice of the Chinese Communist Party. As for these newly issued bonds, they are pushing ordinary people to buy them, leveraging the significant savings still present in banks. He emphasized the next phase of plunder. The CCP has long targeted the savings of ordinary people. Meng Jun said that he can assure you, the CCP are determined to deplete those savings through any means necessary. Resident savings, totaling nearly 200 trillion yuan, approximately 28.2 trillion US dollars, are destined to be emptied. Consider this, the CCP controls the banks and won't allow that money to sit idle. New banking regulations are already in place. For many significant deposits, withdrawals are no longer straightforward. Attempts to withdraw prompt questions from the bank such as, "Where did this money come from? Is it legally taxed?" Proof is demanded, and this is an extremely alarming development. China's financial crisis, no longer looming, it's already underway. During the Elite Forum program, Ms. Guo Jun, editor-in-chief of the Epoch Times' Chinese version, conveyed that a recent report from a financial research center in Japan suggests that China is on the brink of a financial crisis. From her perspective, it's not just looming, it's already underway. According to the report, the Chinese government is presently leveraging its robust fiscal capacity to sustain the financial system, but the crisis is predicted to erupt no later than 2027. She finds the Japanese analysis to be cautious, and she doesn't agree with their conservative estimate. They anticipate that, once triggered, the financial crisis will endure for a minimum of 8 to 10 years, possibly extending into recovery after 2035. The current situation in China bears resemblance to Japan post-1991. China's economic model initially mirrored Japan's, with an emphasis on exports externally and internal industrial control. The financial sector has persistently manipulated interest rates. The present circumstances in China closely parallel Japan in the 1990s: significant capital bubbles, excessively high leverage in financial institutions, a notable national debt ratio, setbacks in exports, and trade disputes with the United States. Her viewpoint is even more pessimistic than the report because China and Japan have fundamentally different conditions and political structures. The rigidity of a Communist Party state allows it to withstand crises, but this very rigidity makes it exceptionally fragile, susceptible to fractures and collapse. The history of Eastern Europe and the Soviet Union illustrates this pattern. They could resist short-term social crises, but once the pressure became unbearable, the entire society collapsed like a falling tide. Therefore, in comparison to Japan, she believes China's current situation is more dangerous. The bright economic theory has become a reverse indicator: China's economy is critically ill. Ms. Guo Jun highlighted that the current overarching theme promoted by the CCP is the singing of the bright economic theory. This initiative was emphasized during this year's Central Economic Work Conference of the CCP. The Chinese National Security Department has consistently underscored that any discussions concerning the Chinese economy fall within the realm of national security. The National Security Department, once discreet, now witnesses its director, Chen Yiqing, actively participating in numerous economic conferences, transitioning from behind the scenes to the forefront. Originally serving as the head of the intelligence agency, he has now stepped into a more visible role. Currently, one can freely express positive sentiments, boast, or make unfounded claims about the Chinese economy without encountering any issues. However, the moment negative aspects are touched upon, it is deemed a violation of the national security law. Even experts affiliated with the CCP face restrictions. For instance, Liu Jipeng, the dean of the Capital Finance Research Institute at Renmin University of China, a director of Minqing Bank, and one of the contributors to the drafting of China's securities law, state-owned assets law, securities investment fund law, and futures trading law, recently suggested that ordinary people should temporarily refrain from investing in the stock market due to high risks. Consequently, his Weibo account was shut down simply because he did not align with the bright economic theory. The CCP's regime design presents numerous issues and drawbacks, but the most absurd aspect is the attempt to control speech while endorsing a market economy. The Communist Party's most ludicrous feature is its simultaneous pursuit of a market economy and enforcement of speech control and uniformity. The market involves transactions, someone buys and someone sells. This is fundamental common sense. Prices signify a balance between buying and selling, reflecting the equilibrium between positive and negative perspectives. If everyone is optimistic with no sellers, only buyers, there will be no market transactions, causing prices to soar. Conversely, if everyone is pessimistic with no buyers, only sellers, the market experiences a steep decline, showcasing extreme instability, akin to the erratic mood swings of an individual with mental illness. In China's stock market, be it stocks, futures, or the real estate market, the predominant characteristic is what is termed a one-way market. It ascends aggressively during bullish periods and, during bearish periods, plummets precipitously, akin to a cliff. The market displays extreme volatility, resembling the erratic emotions of someone with mental instability. The root cause of this volatility lies in the control and manipulation of speech control. The highest risk in China's capital market is precisely due to this control over speech. In essence, this speech control functions as a reverse indicator. When authorities insist on positive narratives, signifying that everyone is singing the bright song, it indicates severe economic problems, very low growth, minimal investment, and declining fiscal revenue. Conversely, if they ease restrictions, allowing for criticism, it suggests that the economy is overheating. Over the years, China's situation has cycled between these two extremes. However, the current severity is comparable to the advanced stage of cancer, with pain points throughout the entire body, acupoints all blocked, rendering it untouchable. Any form of speech is already considered a matter of national security. What does this indicate? It suggests that China's economy is now critically ill and very dangerous. Alternative trend among Chinese young people: pretend to save money. In a recent trend among young people in mainland China, a unique money-saving method has emerged, known as the pretend to save money method. This trend involves simulating various life scenarios, with individuals adopting different roles and plotlines to dramatically save money. The scenes cover themes such as love, time travel, history, science fiction, and adventure. The main task is to raise funds for the fictional protagonist and eventually deposit the funds into the bank account. For instance, a netizen named Xiao Ding, born after 2000, joined the Pretend to Raise a Baby group. After watching a video on a marketing account teaching how to save money by pretending to be pregnant, Xiao Ding decided to give it a try. He created a social account named Pretend to Raise a Baby to save money and began posting content related to his simulated pregnancy. In his posts, Xiao Ding described daily expenses associated with pregnancy, from ordering pregnancy tests to undergoing medical examinations, buying pregnancy-related items, and preparing for the child's arrival. He deposited money into his account corresponding to each stage of the simulated pregnancy. After 74 days, Xiao Ding's savings had increased by more than 3,000 yuan, about $420 and 52 cents. Xiao Ding planned to continue the simulation until the due date in April of the following year, pretending to give birth and raising the child. The accumulated money would then serve as his savings fund. The trend gained popularity, and variations of pretending to be pregnant emerged on social platforms. After Xiao Ding's post went viral, many different versions of pretending to be pregnant appeared on social platforms. Some netizens couldn't hold on, saying, "I tried saving, but I had a miscarriage at 6 months. It was too expensive and I couldn't save anymore." Some netizens found the method entertaining and motivational, while others shared their experiences, with one mentioning a script-saving method where individuals immerse themselves in a role, such as saving for a baby's milk powder and toys. The method appears to make saving money addictive, providing a sense of motivation. Fleeing Xi Jinping's China, people resort to paddleboards for transportation. Living in mainland China is akin to living in a prison under the rule of the CCP, with a growing number of activists, lawyers, and human rights advocates facing severe oppression and imprisonment. They are compelled to seek any means available to escape the country. Among them is Li Qingzhen, who, despite the oppressive conditions, executed a daring plan to escape using a paddleboard. Li Qingzhen's journey began as he paddled away from the Fujian coast in China, along Xiamen Beach, observed by a mother and son. In the darkness, he felt the swift movements, but the potential for capture lingered. Li recalled, at around 7:30 in the evening, when I decided to leave, I felt like I had no choice. I dashed into the water, thinking if they could catch me, then let them catch me. Searching for a secluded beach to launch his escape plan, Li encountered obstacles like fences, security, and cameras. Navigating through heavily guarded waters, he trusted his paddleboard, successfully passing through China's warning system, triggering alarms. The piercing sound heightened his nervousness, and he paddled away quickly. After hours of navigating, Li reached a deserted beach in the Kinmen archipelago, belonging to Taiwan but just over 3 miles from China. Undetected, he walked for an hour, then turned himself in at a police station. The Kinmen District Court found him in violation of immigration and customs laws, sentencing him to imprisonment. Despite residing in the community, he struggles to sustain himself as non-governmental organization, NGO, assistance is ending, and his expired passport hinders further progress. Li had never openly discussed his journey before and was advised against doing so. However, he felt it would help him. The police still visit his family and pressure them. They even showed his family pictures and videos of him preparing to leave on Xiamen Beach as a warning. Staying in Taiwan is nearly impossible due to its lack of recognition as a country by the UN and sensitive government concerns about Chinese infiltration. While some third countries indicated he could go there, the absence of valid documents prevents it. Li hopes a third country will allow him to reach its border, enabling him to apply for asylum, relocate, and bring his family out of China. He shared his story with the Observer in Taipei, using an alias due to concerns for his family's safety. Verification was done through court documents, GPS tracking, and Chinese media reports. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. If you find the information helpful, please share this video with a friend to watch together. This will be a great source of motivation for our team to produce more and more quality and reliable videos. And also don't forget to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths. Thank you for tuning in.